Yes, let's get into it. Obviously, the Manny Pacquiao sweepstakes are going to be something that's going to be talked about, I think, for some while to sort of cut to the end of it. We won't know anything till around, I think, after December 17th is Manny Pacquiao's birthday. And Shawn Gibbons, his sort of manager slash advisor with Manny Pacquiao Promotions, he has said there's going to be no official decision till after his birthday. But they have given a bunch of names, and that's largely due to now sort of a domino effect of the welterweight division. First, Earl Spence's return has been pushed back to the summertime per himself on Instagram, and not too surprised. I mean, I think the turnaround of not January, but like February, March, April, like that seemed to be quick. Pushing it to July, August is smart. There's no reason to rush him. He's still young in his 20s, and coming from a car accident like that, no need to rush him. And on top of that, Mikey Garcia sort of swings back into it. Obviously, we reported, I think, earlier this week from Mike Coppinger about the Jesse Vargas DAZN Matchroom offer. But per Mikey Garcia himself from Miguel Rivera on ESPN, Boxing Scene, and then by way of ESPN Deportes, I believe was this interview. The fight that interests me the most, is a quote from Mike Garcia, in 2020 is the one with Pacquiao. Hearn approached us with the proposal for Jesse. We have not negotiated it, but it is there on the table. The important thing is that there are many options to return in the ring, said Mike Garcia to ESPN Deportes. So that throws Mikey back in, obviously, his name in the hat for Manny Pacquiao. And per Shawn Gibbons, Shawn Porter and Danny Garcia being a name that was obviously floated with Earl Spence, but since Earl Spence's fight's been pushed back, he's no longer in line for an Earl Spence fight at that sort of timetable. And Danny has a sort of stay busy fight in January that they've been talking about for Fox with the, I think the Caleb Plant fight, or no, the David Benavidez fight, the David Benavidez Vonnie Yerdem fight. And so now we have maybe even a longer sweepstakes or negotiation process for the next Manny Pacquiao fight in late April, which could be either Shawn Porter, Danny Garcia, or Mikey Garcia. And Gary, I mean, obviously, we have three names that Shawn Gibbons has thrown out there. Two of them seem, let's be honest, realistic in Danny Garcia and in Mikey Garcia. Shawn Porter seems like maybe too much of an uphill battle for Manny Pacquiao at this point in his career. I don't think it's a realistic option, just like Earl Spence. Let's just be honest about it. But Gary, what do you think is going to happen, and what would you want to happen for Manny Pacquiao? I will give the caveat. Shawn Gibbons did mention Floyd Mayweather's name, but he did sort of throw it out there and leave it at that and moved on quickly to more of these names and talked about these names more at length. So I do think that while the Mayweather option is there, it's not as serious as I think some people were thinking a week ago. So, Gary, what are your thoughts on the Mayweather sweepstakes, so to speak?
Okay, first, Mayweather's not coming back to fight Pacquiao. If he fights again, it's going to be another kickboxer or a UFC guy. He's not having a real fight with Pacquiao or any welterweight. Let's just put that out there. Second, I think it's going to be Mikey. I think that's who they want, and I think that's what they're going to get. You know, look, I don't know how much DAZN and Eddie can offer him to fight Jesse, but if you're Garcia, what's a bigger payday and what's a bigger legacy fight? Obviously, you have to fight Pacquiao.
Yes, so, even off a loss.
And I obviously think he can win the fight. So there's that. He can. So, I mean, it's going to be Mikey. Unless Mikey doesn't want it, but I think Mikey does, it's going to be Mikey. I think Danny Garcia is their backup plan, and I think that's a fine backup plan. I think we if Mikey doesn't want, that's what we're going to get. But I think.
By the way, the backup plan is actually the better fight. Just pointing that out there. Just
I think they're both good fights. I think Pacquiao might lose both of them.
Oh, you could. Yes, I agree with that.
I think if Pacquiao rematched with Keith Thurman, I think Thurman would beat him. I think Thurman got a little behind. The knockout put him behind, and he tried to rally, just came up short. Like there wasn't enough rounds left in the fight for him to win that fight. I think they had fought again, Thurman would beat him.
Hot take from Gary over there. I like it. I like these hot takes.
It just like I guess. Do you think Spence and Danny's going to happen in the summer, say July or August?
That's what I'm thinking. I think Danny gets the tune-up in January, and who knows who that is, right? The showcase fight that quote from I think it was Keith Idek or I forget exactly. I know Jake Donovan quotes it as a showcase fight. I know that was a direct quote. I think from Angel Garcia in an interview with someone, and I think whoever that is, Danny gets by because Danny's good enough to get by against the bottom half of the top 10 or top 15, top 20 guys. He's good enough. I think people give Danny a lot of shade when it's not really deserved. To be honest, I think he's not the best guy in the division.
Don't fight Ugas.
I still think he could beat Ugas though. But I think that's a tough fight though. That's not a showcase fight, to be honest. He takes someone of lesser note. Let's be honest. We're in for probably more of a Rod Salka type name. Let's be real. I would not be surprised to see a lightweight or a junior welterweight be moved up for this fight. To be quite honest, some club fighter that's usually fought in those weight classes. Just being completely real with the January showcase fight, which is going to be shit. But I do think that he's just waiting for the Earl Spence fight. Now, to your point, I do think he is the backup to Mikey. And if they can get the Mayweather fight, they would, because that's a lot of money. But like you said, I don't think Mayweather is serious about boxing again at the highest level in 2020. I think he's absolutely looking for another big paycheck in an exhibition-style matchup, whatever that may be. Or it's another advertising, grift like he did with Paddy Power when he got the MMA gloves, win the cage. It's either one of those. Who knows? But again, digressing to the point, I think Pacquiao, Mikey Garcia is the likely fight. It's one that Mikey clearly wants, right? And for whatever reason, Mikey seems to be a guy that just takes a while to negotiate with. I wouldn't say he's difficult, right? I wouldn't go that far, but he's definitely a guy that takes his time in between fights to negotiate that fight. And Pacquiao's the same way. So I would not be surprised to take another month here, guys, of speculation till we get that official announcement for an April Fox pay-per-view of Manny Pacquiao versus Mike Garcia, which are going to do over 400,000 buys. Right, Gary? As you fix your camera.
Absolutely. It'll do minimum 400. I don't know.
Quickly, Hassan at the chat with the great showcase fight, which I know you're going to either hate or love. Danny Garcia versus Omar Figueroa. Ooh.
I mean,
Hassan, I love it. I love it.
If Omar takes that fight without a tune-up fight, he's taking it for one reason: the money. I mean, he's not going to win that fight. I mean, he lost every round basically. He did lose every. I mean, I know there was 1 point deduction from Ugas, but he lost every round to Ugas. Danny and Ugas are pretty similar, right? And he's going to lose every round to Garcia. Garcia's a bigger puncher. He'll probably get knocked out. So, I mean, I don't know how you're going to go into that fight without changing anything. If you take that fight, it's for one reason, the money. If that's what he wants to do, take your money and leave.
Hey, be the Fernando Vargas, like be the diet version of Fernando Vargas where you just took a bunch of fights that maybe if you prolonged your career better, you may have had more wins, but Omar Figueroa is not that guy, let's be honest.
Yeah. He was that guy at 35. It was like Bam Bam Rios. Bam Bam Rios at 35 was really good.
Had a run.
And stronger than everybody else. Once he moved up to 47 and everyone was the same size as him, I mean, there was nothing else there, right? I kind of feel like that's where Omar Figueroa is. At 35, he could bully people. He was bigger and stronger with that work rate. He could just overwhelm people. At 47, you don't have that advantage anymore. Although he did blow away Guerrero, and no one else stopped Guerrero. So, but that's years ago now. That's probably 3 years ago now.
Yeah, that is a while ago. But most guys that are of that nature, that like super aggressive nature, they do have a very short run, so to speak, where they get some wins. They have a run of notable victories, but usually that run comes with a bunch of wins and losses following it in concert. And similar to like Ruslan Provodnikov, he had a run, and then it was win loss till you retired, and that's usually how it is for those guys. But digressing, I think we're both in agreement here that we get a Pacquiao Mikey Garcia fight next, and Danny takes a tune-up style fight, which Omar I think would be a decent fight, to be honest. I don't think that's really a tune-up to be. It's better than Granados, I would say, in terms of credibility.
Credibility maybe, but if they fought next, if Omar fought Granados next, who would you pick?
Probably Omar, to be honest.
I'd probably pick Granados. Like,
Really?
awful. He barely beat Molina. And then he looked, I mean, I thought the Ugas fight was even worse than the John Molina fight. Like, that's my favorite fighter, like one of my top 10 favorite fighters ever. I'm just being honest. He looked trash. Like, he looked good to you?
No, he didn't. But I think Ugas is one of those guys that is sneakily good. Like, he's a guy that is really basic in what he does, but he is a guy that is efficient in what he wants to accomplish. He just doesn't want to accomplish a lot in terms of a varied game plan. Plus, he's a legitimate giant welterweight. Omar is a lightweight that moved up because he, I think, wasn't dedicated to training at all.
No. Which is crazy. Like, his sister is a workout fiend. Brandon's obviously a monster in the gym, and like Omar just doesn't really seem to care. You talk about fighters who had their runs. He didn't really have a run, right? Like, he had a couple of good wins, and then he was highly inactive. He beat Burns, he beat DeMarco, and he beat Guerrero. And Guerrero came off a long layoff too. And then he had wins over Abner Cotto, and I don't even remember. Jerry Belamontes. That's who he won his title against. I mean, it's Burns, DeMarco, and Guerrero. Those are his names.
Yeah.
And it was inactivity. He should fight Broner. That's what the fight. The two underachievers should fight each other.
God, who would he pick in that fight?
I gotta take my boy in that one.
You take Omar?
Yeah.
Just because you throw punches, right?
Yeah.
Digressing though, I think we're all in agreement. Even like I think fans, like, this seems to be really the few things that all boxing fans like are in agreement here of like where the welterweight division goes. But I do want to add this aspect to it because obviously you have the Terrence Crawford, other side of the street that's doing whatever it's doing over there, circling the drain. But Bob Arum was on Sirius XM radio. I forget which boxing show, but by way of Michael Benson, Bob Arum has divulged that during his June meeting with Al Heyman for Wilder Fury 2, he also raised Spence versus Crawford. He said Heyman told him they'd, quote, definitely, end quote, make it in 2020. However, this was before Spence's car crash, which has derailed these plans. So it seems like we're going to get Manny Pacquiao versus Mike Garcia first half of 2020. And they're not going to fight again until maybe the last quarter of 2020. Just because they're going to make a lot of money. Danny's fighting a tune-up in January. Then probably going to fight Spence in the summertime. Crawford is fighting his mandatory in just a week or so. And no one cares about that fight, let's be honest. Where does Crawford go next this year, in your mind, Gary? Because per Bob Arum, there was a pseudo deal and agreement, in a sense, between him and Al Heyman that fight was going to happen, Spence Crawford, in 2020. Now the plans have obviously been shifted drastically, at least 6 months, because of the Spence car crash. What does Crawford do in the meantime? I mean, obviously, I think they planned for one fight in between. What was that one fight going to be? What do you think that one fight is? But now there has to be another fight probably this year. So Crawford's not going to fight him in 2020. He's going to fight him in 2021. So what are the two fights he gets next year?
There's no more fights for him to take, right? Unless you throw him a Virgil Ortiz or one of the prospects, Enos or something. But like those guys aren't. They're both good. And I mean, it's rough. The only
Rashidi Ellis, name some of those prospects that are just untested. Yeah.
The only upside is okay if you lose, it's not that big a deal because you lost to the best fighter in the world, arguably, right? So it's not like you lost to a middling champion who's barely top 5. You lost to the man, right? So it's not that big of a loss if you lose. But outside of me, who wants to see him fight Virgil Ortiz?
I mean, like, I would see it, obviously, because I now care about Virgil Ortiz's career because it's tied to making fun of you in some way. But, no, I mean, of course, that's not a fight for the wider audience. It's a decent fight, though. I will say that. It's not a bad fight. That's better than Kavaliauskas.
It's better than Kavaliauskas, but okay, you can get by on Kavaliauskas. It's my mandatory. I have to fight him. So, you want to know what I think it's going to be next? Josh Kelly. I think it's going to be Josh Kelly. That's what I think it's going to be.
I'll take Kavaliauskas 2. Give me the rematch.
You want to overpay it? It's not going to be Lipinets because Lipinets is too damn tough, right? Then it's not going to be Lipinets. He already lost to Mikey.
I don't know. Why wouldn't he? He took Felix Diaz when Felix Diaz was that tough PBC B name that wasn't getting the good fights because he had the draw with Lamont Peterson that everyone thought he won. You know, like Crawford does have a minor history of taking on that PBC name that like no one really wants to fight.
I was thinking maybe Ugas, right? They could bring Ugas over.
That too, yeah. Lipinets Ugas are the fights to make, obviously.
I think he stops Ugas. I don't think he stops Lipinets. I think he wins, but like it's not a fight he's gonna. Maybe he can show off his skill. Like I don't know, his stock doesn't go up in any way, shape, or form after the Lipinets fight. He's not that guy who you're gonna blow out there.
Well, let's be honest, his stock doesn't go up at all unless he beats one of those top 4 or 5 names.
Which is what I wanted to say. I still don't know, right? Like we're guessing that Spence is going to fight Danny in August or July in the summer.
Yes.
What if he takes a mandatory then or takes a tune-up and then fights Spence at the end and then fights Crawford at the end of the year?
Instead of Danny and just like bypasses Danny? I don't think they do that. No, they don't do that. I guarantee you, Earl Spence does not fight Terrence Crawford till he beats at least the majority of those PBC names.
You got Pacquiao, who I really don't think Pacquiao is going to fight Spence.
No, he's not.
Okay, so then you have Danny and Keith.
Keith's on a injury man, but good thing he is. I know Gary has the worry of anytime that Keith Thurman gets injured, but he's done a lot of press still been highly active with what's it called? The PBC, Inside PBC show? Right.
Yeah.
He's really active on that. So that's a good sign. I think Keith Thurman still wants to fight. Don't worry, Gary. But he's not going to be ready probably for a fight. Or I think he probably wants a couple tune-ups. He just had a loss to Manny Pacquiao. But, I mean, who knows? I mean, that's the thing. Regardless, I think he's looking for Danny Garcia because that's a easy style matchup possibly for an Earl Spence.
Let me ask you a question. If they offer Thurman a Pacquiao rematch in January, February, March, whatever, Pacquiao wants to come back, do you think Thurman's still injured or do you think he'll man up and fight through that injury?
No, I think he would get on his high horse and be like, no, push that back.
Okay.
Thurman has that self-pride being around him. Like okay. Yeah.
What I would say is let's have those guys rematch. Let's get Danny versus Thurman again. And then the winner fights Spence. Right? Like, why have Danny fight or have Danny versus Porter again? Like, they were all good enough fights where we can do it again. No one's going to object to it. And then the winner gets Spence. But I really want to see Danny versus Thurman because I think Danny had his best fight against Granados at 147. Like, that's the best he looked at 47. And I thought Thurman beat him, but beat him clearly. But I thought Danny figured things out in the second half of that fight. And the second half of the fight was even or maybe slightly in favor of Danny.
Wait. In the Thurman fight?
In the Thurman fight. I thought Thurman won all the early rounds and Danny did things better. No, he didn't win. He didn't win enough rounds.
No, I just think that's the inverse. I haven't seen the fight in a long time, though. I'll be honest.
I thought Danny lost like the first 4 rounds wide.
From what I remember in the fight, because remember, I saw it live, so that means I was a little bit inebriated because I just saw it as a fan. And I think I only watched it that one time, to be honest. It wasn't like it was the best fight ever. But I want to say Danny won, or at least was more competitive in the early rounds because Thurman was trying to engage more on the inside, and he wasn't finding any success. And then he started getting on his bike and boxing more in the second half and started, I think, getting more of a wider margin in terms of just efficiency. Like, I remember that version of the fight where Thurman was trying to force a more of a brawl with Danny, and it wasn't working for him. He then adjusted around round 4, 5, 6. But again, could be wrong.
I'll go back and watch it because it's like it was competitive enough. It wasn't a great fight, but it was good.
That was good.
It's like all 3 of those guys, Porter, Danny, and Keith. Let them rematch again. You might get a different outcome, or if you get the same outcome, if Keith beats them both again, then you know the pecking order. Keith is better than those guys.
I just think in the actual world, if that were to happen, if we get Danny versus Keith first before Danny versus Earl, then that only means Earl's recovery is going to be longer than expected. Not in terms of time away from the sport, but maybe just he wants more tune-ups, more get back fights because of that injury, because of just the experience of the car crash, because he still will want to fight all these guys. Like when Tim Smith and all these PBC officials, so to speak, are out there saying that, and Bill Wagner or Wanger from Fox is saying the same thing, that no, Earl's going to fight all the PBC guys first. Why not? Those are all big fights. Those are all massive fights. So they're going to try to make Earl versus Danny, Earl versus Manny, Earl versus Keith, all before we get Earl versus, I think, Terrence Crawford. Now, luckily, air quotes, on our side, for like more objective fans, I just want the Spence Crawford fight as fast as possible. Manny's not going to take the fight. And I think Keith's timetable is going to be completely off. And so, therefore, hopefully, Earl goes straight to a Danny fight in August, July, and then takes another 6 months and fights Crawford in the first quarter of 2021. And similar to what they want to do with Wilder Fury, feed off of the ESPN and Fox Super Bowl push in that time frame. That's what I think they're going to try to do. That's what I would do.
So you think he's going to fight Danny and Keith before he gets
No. He's going to fight Danny in August or July. He's going to wait 6 months and fight Crawford in February or around that time and get that ESPN Fox push like they're trying to do with Wilder Fury. Wilder Fury 2 is a test run in a lot of ways for a Spence Crawford fight the next year.
So the Super Bowl the following Super Bowl is when you think,
yes,
that's possible. I mean, this is getting like Pacquiao Mayweather now. It's like, can we just make this fight? But like, that's probably reasonable. I want to, if Spence is going to fight a true tune-up in the summer.
I don't think he will though. But if he does, it pushes the timetable back completely. Then I don't know. We're talking about maybe Spence Crawford summertime of 2021, late 2021. We're talking about we're talking about almost 2 years down the line, more so than a year and a half.
Why doesn't Crawford just step in and Top Rank step in and offer Danny a big fat contract, or Keith a big fat contract?
They've tried with Danny. I mean, there have been offers to Danny. I know there was an official offer to Danny before the Khan fight. I don't know if there was an official offer sent post Amir Khan, but I do know there were feelers put out after Amir Khan fight. But nothing has really been reciprocated from the Danny Garcia side. I think Heyman, from what I understand, Heyman has been completely okay with the fight. It's been Danny Garcia's side that has pushed back on the idea of a Terrence Crawford fight.
Do they think they match up better with Spence?
Yeah. Which I understand, to be honest. I get why they think that. I do as well. I think Danny has a much easier time and much easier game plan, naturally speaking, against an Earl Spence than a Terrence Crawford.
I don't know. I mean, what would be his advantage against Spence?
Spence is far more of a guy that wants to exchange on the inside. So therefore, Danny, who is a guy that doesn't have the best footwork, is a guy that naturally is a pocket puncher, is a guy that wants to sit in the pocket and just roll shots and then fire back. Spence is going to oblige that sort of style more in a way than Crawford is. Crawford's going to be on his Victor Postal bike instantaneously because that's what he is. He's a boxer. He's going to look at that Keith Thurman tape and say, oh, this is how you beat him. Or even the Shawn Porter tape, because Shawn Porter at times was circling around Danny and was quite effective in just pure footwork and lateral movement. Terrence Crawford's lateral movement is by far and away better than Earl Spence. Spence is not bad. I mean, we've obviously seen the Mikey Garcia fight. Spence is not a bad lateral mover at all. He's very much a complete fighter. But Crawford's more of a specialist when it comes to defensive lateral movement than Earl Spence. I think that's just a clear fact. And I see Danny naturally having easier time with Earl than with Terrence, to be quite honest.
He matches up terribly against Crawford. That's a terrible fight for him. But like, he doesn't beat. I don't know.
I'm not saying he beats Earl Spence. I'm not saying he beats Earl Spence. I'm just saying it's an easier fight than the Terrence Crawford fight.
Victory for him? Is there any way you can see Danny? Maybe. I mean, look, Danny picks his power shots really well. Like, he really does. His left hook and his right hand. He knows when to set it up and he knows how to throw it. I don't know. I mean, I can't see him outboxing Spence, but I mean, maybe he can hurt him. Danny is a big puncher. He is. I mean, he's got some great knockouts.
I will say this. I think Danny's obviously in the Not to the same degree. It's not a one-to-one analog at all. But Deontay Wilder does not care about winning rounds. Danny Garcia doesn't really care about winning rounds. You can tell that most of the time. He's looking for the knockout a lot. And with Earl, he has a higher chance of getting a knockout than with Terrence Crawford.
Yeah, with Crawford, it's 0%. There's a 0% chance he can knock out. I'm just saying. It's like, what's the chance that De La Hoya in his prime was going to knock out Pernell Whitaker? 0. And he was knocking everyone else at the time. He's not going to knock out that guy. He's not going to knock out Crawford. You know what I'm saying? Like, what was the chance that Reggie Johnson was going to knock out Roy Jones Jr.? 0. And it's not that those guys are bad fighters. They're really good fighters. They're just not going to knock out the best guy in the sport. Right? Like, Charlo can punch. What's the odds of Charlo knocking out Canelo? 0.
Yeah, not high, no.
He couldn't get rid of Cannon Adams.
Yeah, it's not high. No, it's 0.
Fighter right there. I'm not saying he's not. Canelo is so hard to hit, especially with clean power shots. Like Charlo geared up. Like he tried to get the knockout. It was in Houston. He tried to get the knockout for his hometown fans. He just couldn't do it. Right. So like, he did. He tried to get rid of Adams. He loaded up. He was trying to get rid of him. He just couldn't hit him cleanly.
By the way, Igloo in the chat with the super chat. Thank you, Igloo, long-time listener, and just a good guy. I met him twice. Igloo, obviously, I met you in Miami that one time, but I feel like we met again another time. Maybe I'm wrong. Saying I like the passion, Gary, and then he has some disagreements though. He's saying you have to be crazy if you think that Spence is not going to take a tune-up before Danny. I think that's possible, but Earl Spence is one of those guys. Like, I don't know. Like, he has had a really fast career in terms of fighting top names with really little tune-ups in between. Even in his come-up, he was fighting like good opposition. So I don't know about that. And Igloo saying Crawford gets hit. Do you not see the Lundy fight, for example? Ooh. Gary, you muted. There you go.
I don't remember the Lundy. I saw the Lundy fight. I know he stopped. I don't remember the Lundy fight. That has no place stored in my memory. Did he get hit? Did he get hit?
I don't really remember that fight, to be honest. I just remember him like really beating up on Lundy as the fight wore on because Lundy was talking a lot of shit, as Lundy does. Lundy's known for doing that.
Lundy's a decent boxer though, right? Like we trash on Lundy, but he was pretty good boxer. He was skilled. He had quick reflexes. He just wasn't good enough at the next level.
Yeah, it's like Thomas Dolomier. Thomas Dolomier arguably beat Jesse Vargas and Ordonis Ugas. You can make that argument. Like, he's one of those guys that's like sneakily good.
Well, we could get that. We could get Crawford Dolomier Part 2.
No, let's not do that. Stop. Igloo coming in there with the steel chair saying chance of Charlo sparking Canelo is not 0. What kind of Texas boy are you? What a disgrace.
I hope you're right. I hope I'm wrong.
Man, he's just looked really bad lately.
Who said that?
The Igloo said that.
Okay. I hope Igloo is right. But explain to me, Igloo, how you can't knock out Brandon Adams when you're gunning for the knockout, but then you're going to knock out Canelo Alvarez.
It's 1%, Gary, okay? It's not 0. It's not getting hyperbolic here.
It's not 1. It's a fraction of 1%, right? Because 1% is far too high.
Damn, Gary.
That's my guy. But I can't ride with him. Paulo is my favorite fighter in boxing today.
He's fighting a blown up junior middleweight named Hulk Hogan.
He's the fighter. He fights who they put in front of him. But what I'm saying, like, let's be real. Canelo is so hard to hit with clean shots. I mean, Canelo, Triple G didn't hurt him in 2 fights. I mean, like, Charlo's not going to knock him out.
No, he's not. He's not. Kovalev couldn't. Triple G couldn't. No, and I like Charlo. I think he's one of the best. I think he could beat Andrade, for example, right?
Okay.
I don't think he does necessarily, but I think he could at this point in time. I mean, the pendulum has been swinging against Charlo for a while now in terms of what I think about him because he has just not looked great. But he's still top 6, 7 middleweight.
I mean, are you still putting Canelo as a middleweight?
Yeah.
Okay.
If I have to put my rankings like on like MCR.com or whatever or MixSummitRadio.com, I'm ranking him as a middleweight.
Okay, and Jacobs is done though, right? Jacobs is at a 160.
Yeah, he's officially moved up. See, with Canelo, he might be headhunting, but I don't view that as him officially at 175. If he officially moved up to 175, then I would rank him there.
Do you think he could beat Triple G?
Charlo?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Igloo with the big super chat. Thank you. Seriously appreciate that, man. You have no idea.
Let's just make let's make Charlo versus G or Charlo versus Derevyanchenko. Let's just make one. Derevyanchenko deserves one last time. I know he's over 2,
No,
but he beat Triple G.
he did.
Let's be real. So let's give him a title shot. Let him fight Charlo.
I agree with that completely because he did beat Triple G. That might be my robbery of the year. Like at the end, when it hits December 31st, that's gonna be number 1 on my list probably. To be honest.
Yeah, versus Hulk Hogan was early this year, was it? Not it was like January, February.
I gotta watch that fight again.
I'm pretty sure that's the robbery of the year. That was ridiculous.
Was
Although Triple G was pretty bad.
Was that this year? God, who knows? Munguia's fighting people that we've never heard of for 2 years now. Moving on though, let's talk about a fighter that we love here at MCR. A fighter that I think has.
Oh wait, that's gonna happen at some point too. Munguia versus Charlo, 160 in Texas, either Houston or San Antonio.
Yeah.
That's gonna happen at some point.
Well, and obviously you see Oscar like begging to be back working with PBC. Like it doesn't say in the right way because it's Oscar De La Hoya, but there's a reason he keeps mentioning Spence, Wilder, all these PBC names. He misses them. He misses that money, all that work. So let's just be honest about it.